Welcome to In the Garden. I'm Joyce Hochsprung, and my co-hosts today are Debbie Kaharski and Tanya Vasek. And we're going to talk gifts for gardeners. Okay, and so if you've got a gardener in your life, we have got a list for you. And maybe you're the gardener watching and you want to put some of these on your list, or maybe you're the person trying to think of something for your gardener. We've got you covered.
I'd like to just point out really quick that any mention or any brand names is not a specific endorsement based by the Minnesota Extension. And this is just really for informational purposes and maybe to give you some fun ideas, and you just never know like what's out there, or you never thought of what's out there. So let's go.
All right.
We're going to dig in deep right away with the big items. Garden forks and hoes.
Okay, garden forks. I couldn't garden without my fork, my digging fork. It's the first thing I reach for when I want to dig and divide a plant, because I can loosen the soil around the roots without actually cutting the roots. Either of you use a gardening fork?
I do.
Yes.
I do. Yep.
And it's good for those purposes. It's just easier to use than a shovel.
Yep.
Yes.
Planting potatoes, digging them up, helping
Yep.
with the beets, those root vegetables you can really get into.
Yep. And like I said, anytime I want to divide a perennial, that's what I'm going to use to dig it up. So.
And you can get right in the center and divide it and without.
Yep. How about a Dutch hoe?
I love my Dutch hoe. And you might ask, what's a Dutch hoe?
What's a Dutch hoe, Joyce?
There's a blade on the front and the back. So when you use it kind of in a push-pull motion. So it cuts both ways, so it covers a lot of ground pretty quickly. And there's even a Royal Dutch hoe, which has a little bit bigger blade. It's called a Royal Dutch hoe because it's shaped kind of like a crown so it's got even more edges to cover even more ground and cut off more weeds. Those work absolutely great on the smaller weeds, and it's just, like I said, it's a push-pull motion, so you're not doing this cross-body thing like you are with a draw hoe.
How about a stirrup hoe?
Do you want to?
We have a miniature version.
Yes, we
Here,
do.
Another one with that. It comes in a regular 6 foot, but you kind of push pull, and this moves and swivels. And so it
This
takes
one
up,
doesn't real well.
yeah,
but
this one, the
this is
smaller
a
one,
cheap
the
version.
hand one, yeah. But it just moves back and forth, kind of like the back and forth motion you were talking about the other one. But and the handheld version is wonderful when you're on your knees and getting in those tight spaces. So
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Average cost for the three types that we mentioned, the garden fork, the Dutch hoe, and the stirrup hoe, can range anywhere from $25 to $75. In case anybody's wondering, we will list some price ranges. And so we're going to have a variety.
Yeah, and just so you know, those aren't the only types of hoes out there. There are, when we did a class
over
last
40
fall.
different types of hose.
So there are lots of them. So check them out. Do a little research online. It's kind of a fun project.
And with all of these tools, it's interesting. You get what you pay for.
Exactly.
So depending on if you're looking for quality, the more
Sharpness.
expensive ones, they last longer. So you tend to, it's a better value in my opinion, because they last longer and you don't have to replace them.
Yeah, you do get what you pay for when it comes to garden tools. My search started one year when it was like June, and I'd broken my 4th or 5th trowel, and I went, that's it. Looking for something better.
Okay, how about shovels? Now, everybody kind of knows what a shovel is. You go to the store and there's a few different shovels, but some unique ones for gardeners have been a Radius Root Slayer shovel. Can you talk about that one?
Well, there's different versions of the root slayer too, but it has a serrated edge and a V notch. So it literally does, if you're digging and stuff with a lot of roots that you want to clear out, or just some tough soil, even if you want to use the shovel to divide a tough perennial, you stomp down on that baby and it's going to cut through. And there's a short-handled version, there's a long-handled version, there's a lighter weight one, there's a original, there's tons of them. I know you use them.
I have
I've
the
found-
regular one and I have the mini one. So the mini one is nice to get in those small, tight areas where you don't have a lot of room to work with. But yeah, you stomp down and it cuts.
Yeah.
How about a transplant shovel?
That might be also called like a trenching spade or shovel. It's got the long, narrow blade, as you can see in the pictures there. And it's great for digging holes. Also works pretty well for dividing. I still prefer my fork for that, but like, if you're digging a hole for a tree or a shrub, those work great because you can get down there a ways. Any other thoughts on it, Debbie? You've used them too, but
Yeah.
all right.
Yep, so average cost for these types of shovels will go anywhere from $40 to $65, maybe even a little bit more depending on the quality or if they offer a warranty, that type of thing.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to mention about the Radius tools is the O-shaped handle, which if you're doing a lot of digging is really, really nice. It really helps prevent hand fatigue because you can grab it anywhere.
There you go. Okay, so now we're going to come to another unique one. It's a Japanese hand hoe, or maybe it's listed as a Korean hand plow. Now these both come in a left-handed version and a right-handed version.
As a left-hander, you struggle with gardening with the wrong thing. Now, if I put this on my right hand, the blade's on this side, and it should be coming toward you. So with the left-handed, I have the blade over here. It can be dangerous to use right-handed tools in a left-handed world because you're pulling against, and you could cut yourself or do any damage. You could damage the plant you're trying to dig up. So I think it's kind of nice they've come out more and more with left-handed tools.
Or vice versa, if I may.
Yeah,
As you can see, I'm definitely a righty, and this is not something I want to
it's
be,
just not comfortable for
you know. But so those are a couple of fun tools.
Yeah, and this
I
can
put one
get
of those
into
on my
tiny
Christmas
little.
list.
Yeah, these can get in a tiny little spot if you're trying to dig out from a sidewalk and pull at, if you're just trying to weed an area. So, I just recently found this.
Estimated cost for this type of tool is anywhere from $20 to $35. Okay, now every gardener has a pruner, a snips, shears, the cutting instruments. Oh, you go into a store, there's so many to choose from, but which one would be a great gift? Doris.
Well, we're going to get our tools out here.
Several varieties.
We have several varieties.
I'm gonna start-
Everybody has their favorite.
Yes, and I'm going to start with my favorite. This little guy is an ARS. So if you're buying the tool for somebody else, think about their hand size. If they have larger hands, you want a larger one. Compare here. This is the medium Baco. This is the smaller ARS. What I love about it is this little release. All I have to do is squeeze the handles and they pop open. When I want to close it, push it with my thumb, it's closed. And of course you need a holster for your tools. That's always handy. This is just an old belt I had laying around, and this one happens to be a double one. So I can keep a saw or another pair of pruners in there. Just to show you a little bit of difference, it's kind of hard to see maybe on here, but if you try to turn this, there is some difference between the medium and the small Baco. My husband prefers the medium, I prefer the small. And like I said though, my favorite is still the ARS for me.
Hang on, do you
And
want this?
this is a Felco, and this is a left-handed pruner. There again, as a left-hander, if you use the right-handed one in your left hand, you're cutting upside down or backwards. And this, you can kind of easily and conveniently cut it into your, with your left hand. The nice with the Felcro is you can take them all apart. You can get replacement parts.
And that, actually, any good quality pruners, you should be able to do that. You can buy new blades for both the Felco, the ARS, the Baco. I believe, There are a couple others too, where you can buy new blades, new springs, so you don't have to replace the entire pruners.
Did you say Corona? Can you do that?
Coronas,
Yeah.
that's another one. So any quality pruners is going to have that possibility of doing that. This little one literally lives on my hip all summer, and if you've got, you might see it listed as a fruit thinning shears or just a long nose snips or needle nose snips. So it's got a variety of names. This one again, I'm kind of partial to the ARS, but that's this one. And definitely if you've got something with this type of blade, you want to find a holster to fit it, because you do not want these stuck in your back pocket and then take a fall. Would not be good, a safety issue.
And that's good for getting in tight spaces if you're deadheading flowers.
If you're
or just-
deadheading, yep, I use it, I cut things back with it. I mean, I use it in the veggie garden when I'm harvesting,
Yes.
things like the peppers, the eggplant, anything that I've got to snip, this will go through it. And then it just in there and onto my belt or a pocket.
Okay. So, again, tools range, and this is a big range. Can go for $15 at a big box store, anywhere to $100. You know, if you're purchasing some really high quality items. We recommend that review online. Read the reviews. Read if there's warranty. If there's replacement parts, do a little digging before making that that big purchase.
Yep.
And then you have snips.
This is called the lopping shears. This is for things that are too big for your regular pruners. And I should have mentioned on the others, all of those that I have are bypass pruners, which means the blade goes past the anvil and it cuts like a scissors. There's also
Bill?
anvil pruners
And- oh.
where the blade comes down on a flat surface. The only
That
time
kinda
you
crushes your.
Yeah, the only
crushes your
time you want to
skins.
use an anvil pruners is if you're pruning dead wood. If you're cutting anything live or green, you want to use a bypass. Okay, and when you're looking for a bypass pruners, think about the weight. Size isn't as much a deal as, but the weight. This has got like a hollow steel, so it's fairly lightweight for something this size. And it has bumpers. A good quality bypass pruner is going to have bumpers because it absorbs some of the shock when you're cutting. So those are a couple things to look for. And we did not mention yet the ratchet pruners,
The
which
ratchet pruners.
I don't have. I prefer just my bypass, and I sharpen them often.
So the ratchet has a little spring in it.
Yeah,
You
it's
could- you can
kind
tell.
of, how would you say, you open and close it and it gets a little tighter each time. It kind of, so
Yeah.
it cuts through gradually.
And it'll say it on the package too.
Yeah.
You know. So there you go. Now, here's a couple other items that are a staple among many, many, many gardeners. Hand saws are one. Do you want to talk about them?
Okay, I have, this one's a Felco. This is, again, like I said, I love the ARS. And this is a Silky. This is for your bigger branches. A straight blade, like is on this Felco, is best used when you're cutting something that's kind of between maybe your eye level and your waist. So if you're cutting something way above you, it's not going to be as effective as something with a curved blade. Now I'm short, so most of my cutting is either way above me or down low. So I find the curved blade, you get much more cutting power. And this Silky, the same thing. And again, now these two are folding saws, so just fold that in. So you can keep them in a sleeve if you want. This one's a little stiff, it doesn't get you, there we go. But you can easily stick these in your pocket too, which is a handy thing. I do usually keep it in here with my pruners just because it's handy that way. And the Silky comes with a scabbard. I usually carry that in my bucket simply because, yes, I can put it on a belt and I can put strips through here and tie it to my leg. But again, I'm short, so this is a little long for me, but it is a handy saw to have.
I have the silky version, a long one that folds, and I carry it on my back. I
Okay.
have a little backpack carrier, and I just pull it out and extend it. I love it.
Okay.
It's one of my staples too when I'm going around. How about a hori hori knife
We
or
have a
garden knife?
We have a few samples here for you. This is the A.M. Leonard version. This is what I bought when I got really disgusted with trowels breaking. I went online and started searching, and I came up with this. So this thing is probably 20 to 25 years old. And if you look closely, I've nearly worn the serrated edge off of this. And still it has never bent. And I use this or this. This is the heavy duty one. I think this is bare bones, but you can kind of see the difference. This one's got this one you definitely do not want to go around with it without being in a holster or a scabbard.
And there again, we have a left-handed version because as you
Yes.
see, the serrated edges are on the side that come towards you again, so safety.
Yep. So these are, but they are very handy tools to use. This gets used,
Yes,
both
they're
of
good
them.
for digging, they're good for helping to divide plants, they're good
Yep.
for planting plants, they're
And measuring too. If you need
Yep.
to know how to go down
how deep, yep.
the deep.
There's most of them
there's
have a measuring
measuring.
on right
And then
on
the
the
cutter
blade.
on the side if you
And the
have.
cutter.
The
Yep.
twine cutter, yep.
Right.
So they are also very handy. So if your gardener doesn't have one of those,
This
Yep.
is a wonderful tool.
yes.
Again, you kind of get what you pay for.
Yes.
Yep.
There's some
Cheaper
As you
there's
can
versions.
see,
cheap
this is
versions out there. and
Solid
there's some-
construction, so
sol-
it's not gonna
Yeah.
bend,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
not-
gonna break, and
yeah.
it's, yeah.
Exactly.
Like I said, that thing's probably 20 to 25 years old, and it's been
Yep.
used to where I've worn the serrated edge almost off.
Yep.
So,
I had one, and the blade and the handle came off after a couple uses. Again, I went with the cheap version. Second, wasn't making that mistake, so I went with a great heavy duty one and have had it again probably another 5 years or so. So read the reviews, do some research. The hand saws estimated anywhere 60 to 120. I know the one I used was over $100, just because it's a very long knife and it's a silky brand. The Hori Hori guard knife, $25 to $50. I don't know if yours would have.
that's probably in that range.
Okay.
Yeah. This one, you have to buy
The holster separate. Yep.
This one came with it.
And mine came with the
And
whole.
Yeah.
yep. So again, prices may differ. We're just kind of giving an average
Some
overall.
ballparks.
Yep.
And sometimes if you watch for sales, you can pick
You
them
can
up.
kind of do it. Okay, hand tools. Now, as Debbie mentioned before, left-handed tools. Any other insights on left-handed tools for hand tools?
Just they're becoming easier and easier to find. I
Yeah.
think they didn't used to be as readily available.
Okay.
So if you like Google left-handed tools, it's amazing what you can come up with.
They're-
And I never realized or thought, in reading things about it being dangerous to use a right-handed and a left-handed. I never thought about that, but it does make a difference if you
Yeah.
slip.
And we'll go over a few.
Yep. How about a mini Cobra head weeder?
This is the mini Cobra head. It's kind of like a steel fingernail. When you want to get in really close to plants without hitting the plant, you can use this. It's got a lot of finesse. Also good for the sidewalk cracks, similar to the Korean hand plow, cleaning out the weeds. Now this is the mini, if you look at the handle, that's kind of a big handle, so think about your intended giftee, what their hand size is. I did have a regular Cobra head, and I found if I wanted to grip it down here where it was comfortable for me to grip, then this part was whacking me in the arm all the time. So I gifted that one to somebody, and I got the mini, and this one works great. There's
Right.
also a Cobra head hoe with a long
And
handle.
that particular one, you can use left or right-handed because
Yes,
it does
this
have
is-
a blade.
this-
So there are some tools that you can use
Either
left
way.
or right.
A hand rake. Okay, so this is one of my favorite tools. Simple, looks like a rake. It is, hand rake. I use this for cleaning under my bushes and around my plants. I just get in there and I just scrape all that dead stuff that has fallen in between and gather it up. It is the simplest thing ever, but I find I carry that around with me in my back pocket all the time. So, again, very inexpensive.
I'll let Debbie talk about a couple of these.
Then this
These
is
are
from
hers.
Radius, and these are things prevent the fatigue. This is ergonomically correct, so it's a little easier to work with. You don't get as tired. Your hands and that don't get as tired from doing that repetitive and digging
So
down.
if you've got
and
somebody with fine motor or arthritis,
an
something like
older
that,
person.
Yep. And then,
like us,
Yes.
okay, like me.
Yeah. No, like all.
and that's a soil scoop that she has.
Yeah, this is a soil scoop serrated on both hands. You can scoop soil to get up. It helps dig soil. It has the serrated edges where it cuts a little bit if you're planting anything. It's just kind of a handy little
Yep.
tool.
How about a Cape Cod weeder?
This is a Cape Cod weeder. Again, this is kind of a, I use this a lot in my flower beds, or if I'm working in the onions where I want to get in close. This is handy, and this comes in, this is the right-handed version. It also comes in a left-handed version. And there are several makers. A.M. Leonard makes it, DeWitt makes it, I think Sneebor makes one. So, and this one, with my hands, I can grasp it easily. It's a little bit narrower in here, which makes it a good fit for somebody with small hands.
So estimated costs between all these ones that we were talking about, $15 to $75. Little tip, a hand rake, my little hand rake. The dollar store has kids' versions of a mini rake for, what is it, $1.25 now or $1.50. I go through a couple of those every summer too because they're just so easy to get under those bushes and rake up when you're out there. So again, price or functionality, it's kind of up to you. All right. Here's one that we did, and we also did a class on, tool sharpening and sharpening kits.
This is just happens to be the one I have. These three, it's a Diamond, I think. I bought, I don't know, a long time ago. And I have a couple others in there that are just tiny little things. They're great for sharpening things like the loppers, your small hand tools. What else? Pruners.
Shovels sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of your bigger things you might want to use a file on.
Right.
But you can pick these up. I think the set of 3 was like $20 or $25, and that's been a while. This little Corona one works for, I like to keep one of these two if I'm out pruning in a jacket pocket or something, just in case I need to give a couple licks to the blade while I'm working. And I think that runs about $10, $12.
It's important to keep your tools sharpened because that's another safety. With the
Yeah.
dull loppers or dull pruning, you can hurt yourself. So it's important to keep them sharp.
There are all kinds of them. The one I don't have that I'd like to get yet is maybe a small round file for some things.
Well, Christmas is coming.
This is true.
So sharpening kits, estimated $12 to $40. There's, like she said, a variety of different kinds and kits available.
Yeah, I mean, this one, these 3, the blue, red, and yellow one here, there's a coarse, a fine, and an extra fine. Thanks for joining us on this little tour of gifts for gardeners. We hope you found some ideas you can use, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Bye-bye.